Listen to me. Success don't come from comfort. Success don't come from laying on your couch, watching Netflix, waiting for the right moment. Success don't come from wishing. It comes from working, from sacrificing, and from saying, I'm more committed to the dream than I am to my own comfort. Some of y'all want the next level, but you ain't willing to get uncomfortable. You want six-pack abs, but you don't want to give up the donuts. You want $1 million business, but you can't work past 5 p.m. You want a championship, but you don't want to practice when it's rainy. Let me tell you something. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort is where dreams go to die. Comfort is where you stay when fear wins. But commitment will take you to heights you never imagined. I was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans. You think that was comfortable? No, but I was committed. I didn't care what I had to go through. I was willing to hurt, to bleed, to cry, because I saw something bigger. You gotta choose. Are you gonna chase comfort or are you gonna chase purpose? Because you can't both. You'll never grow in a space where you're always at ease. That's just the truth. Growth doesn't happen in easy. Growth doesn't show up when everything is calm and smooth and predictable. You don't level up by doing what you've always done. You level up when you push past what's comfortable and stretch yourself into the unknown. Every single person who has accomplished something extraordinary to go through a season, maybe even a lifetime of discomfort. That's the soil where greatness grows. If you stay in the space where everything feels good, where everything is soft and easy and nothing tests you, you will never become what you were created to be. You've got to stop asking for it to be easy. Stop praying for less resistance and start praying for stronger shoulder. Stop waiting for the perfect time and start being the kind of person who can push through imperfect moments. The comfort zone is the most dangerous place you can live. It looks safe, it feels good, but it kills your ambition, it kills your urgency, and it kills your urgency, and it kills your hunger. When you live in comfort, you lose your edge. You lose that fire that says, I will win no matter what. And you replace it with thoughts like, maybe later, or it's not that bad, or at least I'm doing better than them. That mindset right there, that's the trap. That's what keeps people average. Listen, comfort is a liar. Comfort will tell you you're okay when deep down, you know you've got more inside. Comfort will tell you to rest when you haven't earned it yet. Comfort will whisper, take a break when this was the season to double down. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you reinforce the mindset of mediocrity. You train yourself to settle. You teach your body, your mind, and your soul that what you have is enough, even if you know it's not where you're supposed to be. But commitment, that's different. Commitment says, I'm going to show up even when it hurts. Commitment says, I'm going to push when I'm tired. I'm going to believe when nothing around me makes sense. Let me be real with you. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you, it doesn't change you. That's not just a saying. That's a principle of life. If you want growth, you have to embrace discomfort. That means waking up earlier. That means turning off the distractions. That means saying no to the things that feel good so you can say yes to the life that's calling you. That means grinding when your friends are partying. That means discipline when everybody else is quitting. It's in those moments of pain, of struggle, of uncertainty that your character is forged. You don't build resilience when things are easy. You build it when you're on the edge and you still decide to show up. Let me give you an example. The gym is one of the best metaphors for this. You can't build muscle lifting the same light weight forever. Eventually that weight becomes too easy. You've got to add resistance. You've got to put your body under stress. That burn you feel, that discomfort, that's the sign of growth. Same thing in life. That uncomfortable conversation you don't want to have, growth. That risk you've been avoiding, growth. That opportunity that scares you, growth. You've got to lean into it, not run from it. The problem is most people want results without resistance. They want the reward without the sacrifice. They want the destination without the journey, but it doesn't work that way. You don't stumble into greatness. You grind into greatness. You commit, you sweat, you cry, and you endure. That's where real growth lives. And once you understand that, you stop fearing discomfort. You stop running from it. Stop running from it. You start recognizing it as a sign that you're in the right place, that you're on the edge of transformation. Now I know some of y'all are thinking, but Eric, I'm just trying to survive right now. I can't add more stress to my life. and I hear you. But what if I told you the very thing you're calling stress is actually strength training? What if I told you that what you're calling struggle is actually preparation? See, the enemy wants you to believe that every hard thing is meant to break you. But God allows some hard things to build you. You've got to shift your mindset. You've got to start looking at difficulty as development. You've got to stop avoiding what's hard and start embracing it as the tool that shapes you into who you were meant to be. Look at any champion in sports, in business, in life. None of them got there by staying comfortable. They trained longer. They sacrificed more. They pushed past limits. They did the things most people refuse to do. And that's why they became what most people never will. You've got to decide. You're going to be one of the few who commits to growth or one of many who settles for comfort. And let me say this, comfort doesn't always look like laziness. Sometimes it looks like staying in a job you hate because it's safe. Staying in a job you hate if it's safe. Sometimes it looks like staying in the same city because you're scared of change. Sometimes it looks like staying quiet when you know you were meant to speak. Comfort is sneaky. It shows up looking like peace, but it's really fear in disguise. And if you don't challenge it, it will rob you of every dream you ever had. So here's the call. I need you to break up with comfort. I need you to choose discomfort on purpose. I need you to make decisions that stretch you, that grow you, that call you higher. Because that's where your destiny lives. That's where your greatness lives. That's where your future is waiting for you. Right outside the boundaries of what feels safe. Choosing what's easy. Stop delaying your destiny for temporary comfort. Every second you waste in comfort is a second you delay becoming the version of you the world desperately needs. The version of you that can lead, that can inspire, that can build, that can create, that can transform lives. So no more excuses. No more waiting for the right time. No more running from the hard stuff. Step into the pain. Step into the fire. Step into the fire. Because that's where champions are forged. That's where legacy is born. That's where you find out who you really are. You'll never grow in a space where you're always at ease. So get uncomfortable and get committed. You've got to understand this. Commitment doesn't just show up when things are easy. It's not about how hyped you are. It's not about the excitement you feel when you first write down your goals or make that vision board. Anybody can be excited when it's convenient. Anybody can be excited when it's convenient. Anybody can go to the gym on January 1st. Anybody can wake up early when life is calm and the sun is shining. But commitment is about showing up when it's hard, when it hurts, when it's dark, and when nothing in you wants to keep going. That's what separates winners from wishers. Commitment means you do it anyway. You don't wait for motivation to kick in. You don't wait for everything to line up perfectly. You don't wait until you feel like it. You show up because you said you would. You show up because the vision demands it. You show up because the version of yourself you're trying to become can only be built by consistency in the face of adversity. It's easy to be disciplined when life is going your way. It's easy to be dedicated when everybody's clapping for you. But what happens when nobody's watching? What happens when you're not seeing results yet? What happens when it's been weeks, months, maybe years, and it feels like you're getting nowhere? That's the test. That's where real commitment is proven. That's when most people quit, but not you. You gotta make a decision that says, I'm not doing this for applause. I'm not doing this for likes. I'm doing this because I made a promise to myself and I refuse to break it. See, a lot of people are interested, but not many are committed. There's a difference. Interested people do what's convenient. Committed people do what's necessary. Interested people show up when the conditions are perfect. Committed people show up regardless of the conditions. Interested people get hyped by emotions. Committed people get fueled by discipline. You don't become successful just because you're passionate. You become successful because you're persistent. Think about it. The greats didn't rise because life was always good to them. They rose because even when life knocked them down, they kept showing up. Michael Jordan didn't stop practicing because he missed game-winning shots. Serena Williams didn't give up because her body hurt. Kobe didn't skip the gym because he was tired. They were committed. And their commitment showed most when everything around them screamed to give up. But they did. And neither can you. Got to train yourself to move beyond emotion. Some mornings you'll wake up and not feel like doing it. Do it anyway. Some days you'll be tired, discouraged, overwhelmed. Do it anyway. That's commitment. You don't get to the top because you feel like it. You get there because you fight for it. You grind for it. You sacrifice for it. You show up for it again and again and again until it bows to your will. And listen, you will face resistance. You will face resistance. You will be tempted to quit. But the secret to real success is being able to look your obstacles in the eye and say, you're not stronger than my commitment. You got to build mental toughness. You got to develop spiritual strength. You've got to decide that quitting is no longer an option, that comfort is no longer your priority, and that feelings no longer control your future. Let me tell you something. The people who change the world, the people who live out their purpose, they're not the ones with the easiest path. They're the ones who show up when it's hardest. They're the ones who keep swinging even when they're down. They're the ones who plant seeds day after day, even when the harvest hasn't come. They trust the process. They trust the journey. They don't need proof every day. They have faith. Faith and commitment go hand in hand. Faith says, I believe in what I can't yet see. Commitment says, I will work for it even when I don't feel it. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's rare. That's what it takes to be different. Most people get distracted. Most people get discouraged. Most people slow down when things get tough. But if you want to rise, you got to keep moving through the storm. You got to remind yourself why you started. You got to go back to that vision, go back to that dream. Go back to that reason. Write it down. Post it on your wall. Keep it in your heart. And let that be stronger than any excuse. Let that be the fire that fuels you on the days you want to stay in bed. Let that be the anchor when the winds of life try to knock you off course. There's going to be a point when nobody else believes, when it feels like you're all alone. And in that moment, your commitment has to be louder than their doubt. Your determination has to be bigger than their opinion. Your drive has to come from the inside because external motivation will never last. If it's not internal, it's not eternal. You want freedom, you want purpose, you want to be great. Then you got to earn it every single day. And you earn it through commitment, not convenience, not comfort, but relentless, focused, intentional action, even when you don't want to. That's when the breakthrough comes. That's when doors start opening. That's when the shift begins. And let me be clear, this ain't a one-time decision. Commitment is a daily choice. You've got to wake up every morning and recommit. You've got to wake up every morning and say, I'm still in this. I still believe. I still want this. I still trust. And then you act. You move. You grind. You get it done. Because the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to fight for, what you're willing to suffer for, what you're willing to stay loyal to, even when it gets ugly. That's what commitment is. So stop waiting for it to get easier. Stop hoping it'll feel better. Start deciding that no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, you're going to show up. You're going to give your best. You're going to keep building, keep moving, keep believing. That's how you win. That's how you rise. That's how you become the version of you that you were born to be. You don't grow when it's easy. You grow when you're uncomfortable. And you don't prove commitment in the light, you prove it in the dark. So whatever you're facing today, show up. Whatever hurts, show up. Whatever hurts, show up. Whatever isn't going your way, show up. That's how champions are built. Not in moments of glory, but in moments of grit. Committed people do it daily, not occasionally. That's the line that draws the difference between the ones who want it and the ones who get it. If you look at anyone who's successful, truly successful, not someone who got lucky for a moment, but someone who built something that lasted, something with depth and weight, you'll see one thing in common. They show up every single day. They don't wait until they feel like it. They don't wait until the stars align. They don't wait for motivation. They understand that motivation is temporary. Discipline and commitment, that's the foundation. That's the fuel. That's what turns a dream into a legacy. You see, people want big rewards from small effort. They want to work out once and see AB. They want to post on social media twice and blow up. They want to write a few pages and call themselves authors. But real results don't come from sometimes. They come from every single day. And that doesn't mean you're always perfect. That doesn't mean every day is a home run. But it means you show up to swing regardless. It means you don't take days off from your purpose. It means you don't take days off from your gift. It means you treat your mission like oxygen, non-negotiable. See, the person who works hard once in a while can never compete with the one who's consistent. Consistency compound. When you do the right thing daily, it multiplies. It builds momentum, creates an unstoppable force that even failure can't shut down. When you show up every day, you get better, even if just by 1%. 1% a day might not seem like a lot in a moment, but over a year, that's transformation. That's mastery. You want to master something? Do it daily. You want to be a lead at something? Commit to it every single day. And not just when it's easy, not just when you're excited. Do it when you're tired. Do it when you're frustrated. Do it when no one's watching. Do it when you feel like quitting. That's when it counts most. Because the days you don't feel like it are the exact days that shape you. Anybody can do it when it's fun. Anybody can do it when they're winning. But only the committed do it when they're losing, when they're doubting, when everything in them says, take a break. And that's the real test. That's the moment that separates you from the crowd. Because the crowd doesn't do it daily. The crowd does it when they feel inspired. The crowd does it when it's convenient. But the committed, they grind. They practice, they study, they prepare. Day in, day out, rain or shine, no excuses. Let me break this down. Imagine you're planting seeds. If you water those seeds once a week and forget about them the rest of the time, are they going to grow? No, they'll dry up. They'll die. But if you water them daily, just a little bit each day, you create an environment for growth. Same with your goals, same with your dreams. They need daily attention. They need daily action. You don't need to make massive leaps every day. You just need to keep moving forward. And every small step builds into something massive. The danger with occasional effort is it tricks you. It makes you feel like you're doing enough when you're really just spinning your wheels. You'll say things like, I've been working hard, but in reality, you worked hard one day and coasted for the rest of the week. You'll wonder why things aren't changing, but it's because you haven't been consistent. Effort without consistency is just noise. It doesn't build anything. It doesn't carry weight. But effort applied daily, that's a force. That's something no obstacle can compete with. Let me tell you something real. If you're serious about this, you can't be on and off. You can't be hot one week and cold the next. That's how average people operate. But you're not average. You're not built to live a life of almost and maybes. You're built to dominate, to thrive, to lead. And that requires a level of discipline that most people aren't willing to adopt. But if you want what most people don't have, you got to be willing to do what most people won't do. What most people won't do. Telling you it'll be easy, I'm telling you it'll be worth it. You might have to wake up earlier. You might have to stay up later. You might have to make sacrifices that others don't understand. But that's okay, because you're not doing it for their approval. You're doing it for your destiny. You're doing it for the future you. The version of you 5 years from now who looks back and said, I thank God I didn't quit. Thank God I kept going. Thank God I was committed when it would have been easier to walk away. Let me ask you something. What's one thing you could do every day that will move your life forward? Not 10 things. 1, start there. It might be reading for 30 minutes. It might be exercising. It might be practicing your craft. Whatever it is, lock it in. Make it part of your routine. Not as an option, but as a requirement. Because when you make your commitment part of your identity, your actions start to align. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making excuses. You stop skipping the reps. That's what successful people do. They don't rely on mood. They rely on structure. They create systems. They set boundaries. They guard their time. And they execute, even on the days they don't want to. That's how empires are built. Not with occasional brilliance, but with daily excellence. The world is full of talented people who never went anywhere because they lack consistency. Talent is overrated. Discipline is underrated. Give me a consistent person over a talented person any day. Because the consistent person will outwork, outlast, and outperform the talented one who only shows up when it's easy. Every single time. So here's the truth. Your success is hiding in your daily routine. Your breakthrough isn't in that one big event or that one big opportunity. It's in your habits. It's in your decision to keep showing up day after day without applause, without fame, without recognition. You build in silence. You grow in the dark. And one day the light will catch up with the work you put in when nobody was watching. That's the reward of daily commitment. It doesn't always come fast, but it always comes. And when it does, it's solid, it's real, it's earned. Nobody can take it from you because you didn't luck into it. You lived into it, so stop playing games with your potential. Stop dipping in and out. Decide today that you're done with it sometimes. Done with it maybe. Done with it when I feel like it. Make the decision to be daily, be consistent, be relentless. Because that's the only way you'll ever reach the level you were born for. Do it daily or don't expect it to last. Success respects sacrifice, not excuses. That's a truth too many people try to ignore. Everybody wants to be great, but very few are willing to give up what greatness requires. Everybody says they want to win until it's time to do what winners do. And what do winners do? They sacrifice. They give up what's comfortable. They surrender the easy path. They let go of distractions, habits, and sometimes even people who are holding them back. Because real success doesn't come to those who are full of excuses. It comes to those who are full of fight. The ones who look at a challenge and say, I'm willing to pay whatever price it takes. Let's be real. Sacrifice is uncomfortable. Nobody likes to give something up. But the truth is, everything in life has a cost. The life you want isn't free. The goals you're chasing have a price tag. The bigger the dream, the greater the sacrifice. And what separates the average from the elite is simple. What they're willing to let go of to get where they're going. Excuses are comfortable. Excuses are easy. Excuses give you a way out. They protect your ego. They make failure sound acceptable. I didn't have enough time. I was too tired. I had too much going on. You've heard them all. You've used them all. But here's the hard truth. Every time you give an excuse, trade progress for peace of mind. You trade the chance to grow for the feeling of comfort. You trade a win for a lie that makes you feel better in the moment, but worse in the long run. Success doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. And results only come when you do the work, no matter what it costs. If you want to change your life, you got to change your mindset from, what do I have to give up, to what am I willing to give up? Because everything worth having requires something worth losing. Let me say this louder. Sacrifice is not a punishment. It's a strategy. When you sacrifice, you're telling the world, I'm serious. You're telling yourself, this matters more than comfort. You're telling your future, I'm willing to pay for what I want. That kind of mindset changes everything. That mindset doesn't accept average. That mindset doesn't wait. That mindset doesn't make excuses. It takes ownership. It shows up. It gets it done. Think about it. Every champion, every millionaire, every great artist, leader, all made sacrifices. They've given up sleep, parties, leisure time, relationships, vacation. They missed out on temporary pleasures so they could build something permanent. They didn't do it because it was fun. They did it because it was necessary. When you start sacrificing for your goals, you begin to understand how much it really takes. You see who's with you and who's not. You find out what you're made of. Because the moment you choose sacrifice over excuses, everything changes. You develop grit, you build discipline. You grow stronger, more focused, more intentional. You don't just chase dreams, you build them. Excuses are addictive. Once you start using them, they become your identity. You start believing them. You start saying things like, that's just the way I am. Or I've always been like this. That's not who you are. That's who your excuses have convinced you to be. But when you sacrifice, you shift, you change, you break free from that old story. You create a new narrative that says, I don't just talk about it, I live it. Let me ask you something. What have your excuses ever built? Now here's the hard part. Sometimes the thing you need to sacrifice is something you love. It might be a habit. It might be a toxic relationship. It might be comfort, ego, pride, or control. And yeah, it'll hurt. But growth is always painful. You can't evolve and stay the same. You can't level up without letting go. You can't carry everything and still climb. There will be times when nobody claps for your sacrifice. Nobody will notice the early mornings, the long nights, the skipped events, the hard choices. But that's okay. You're not sacrificing for applause. You're sacrificing for a future that looks like freedom. A future where you don't have to settle. A future where you can look in the mirror and say, I earned this. Stop trying to fit success into your old schedule. Success requires a new routine, a new mentality, a new level of commitment. So that means cutting the excuses at the root. Stop saying you're too busy. Everyone's busy. Stop saying you don't have time. Make time. Stop saying you're not ready. You'll never be completely ready. Get started anyway. You've got to decide, what do you want more? The comfort of your excuses or the discomfort of your breakthrough? Because you can't have both. One leads to regret and the other leads to reward. Excuses may feel good now, but they leave you empty. Sacrifice may feel painful now, but it fills your life with meaning. People think they have time. They think they can keep putting things off. But time doesn't stop. Life doesn't wait. And opportunities don't come knocking twice. If you want to win, you've got to start acting like it. You've got to start sacrificing like it. Because the people who are winning aren't necessarily more talented. They're more committed. They're more disciplined. They've given up what others would, and that's why they're getting what others can't. So what are you willing to sacrifice? Your comfort, your ego, your distraction, your excuses. It's time to let go of the things that are holding you back. It's time to stop defending your limitations and start discovering your possibilities. Success is on the other side of the things you don't want to give up. So give them up, and I get it. Sacrifice is lonely. It's hard. It's not glamorous, but neither is being stuck. Neither is looking back years from now and realizing you could have done more. Regret is the highest cost of all. Don't pay it. Choose sacrifice. Choose the hard road. Choose the grind. Choose to keep pushing even when it's not convenient, because that's where greatness lives. That's where growth happens. That's where the fire is forged. Success doesn't care how creative your excuses sound. Success honors your effort. Success honors your discipline. Success honors your sacrifice. When you're committed, your feelings don't dictate your actions. That's one of the hardest lessons to learn, but it's also one of the most important. Most people live their lives based on how they feel in the moment. If they feel tired, they skip the work. If they feel discouraged, they quit. If they don't feel motivated, they don't even start. But commitment doesn't ask how you feel. Commitment doesn't need your emotions to cooperate. Commitment is rooted in discipline, not feelings. It's rooted in purpose, not comfort. And let's be honest, feelings are unreliable. One day you feel inspired. The next, you feel lazy. One moment you're fired up, ready to conquer the world. Then life hits you, and suddenly all that energy disappeared. That's life. That's how emotions work. They change, they fluctuate, they're unstable. But you know what has to stay the same? Your decisions, your actions, your commitment. If your life is governed by how you feel, then you'll always be stuck in cycles. You'll be on fire one week and completely cold the next. That's not how growth happens. That's not how success is built. Success doesn't show up because you felt like it. It shows up because you did it anyway. It shows up because you trained yourself to push past your mood. You built a system, a routine, a lifestyle that didn't require motivation to function. You move regardless of emotion. You executed despite the excuses. That's real power. When you can wake up and perform even on your worst days. That's what separates committed individuals from the rest of the world. That's where greatness begins. Let me give it to you straight. If you only do it when you feel like it, you will never get it done. That dream will stay a dream. That goal will remain a wish. That potential will never become real. Why? Because there will always be a reason to stop. There will always be a reason to slow down, to take it easy, to try again later. But committed people don't entertain that mindset. They know that every day matters. Every step counts, and they don't give their feelings the authority to override their mission. Let me paint the picture. Imagine an athlete training for the Olympics. You think they skip practice because they're tired. You think they stop halfway through because they're bored. You think they only push hard when they're in the mood. No, they train through the pain. They train through the frustration. They train through injury, through setbacks, through self-doubt, because they're not training based on emotion. They're training based on commitment. They know what's at stake. They know what it takes. And they've made the decision to show up no matter what. That's the kind of mindset you need to adopt. That's the energy you need to bring to your goals. You've got to tell yourself, I don't need to feel good to be great. I don't need to feel motivated to move. I don't need perfect circumstances to take action. I'm committed, and that means I'm consistent, even when I don't feel like it. When you stop letting feelings control your behavior, you unlock a new level of freedom. You're no longer a slave to the ups and downs. You're no longer at the mercy of moods. You're in control. You're in command. And that's when you become dangerous, because nothing can throw you off. Not tiredness, not boredom, not fear, not discouragement, because you've already made the decision to do it regardless. This doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It doesn't mean you pretend they don't exist. It means you acknowledge them, but don't let them lead. You feel the fear and take the step anyway. You feel the fatigue and do the work anyway. You feel the self-doubt and believe anyway. That's courage. That's discipline. That's commitment in action. Think about the people you admire, the ones who built something meaningful, the ones who've inspired you, the ones who've overcome obstacles. They weren't superhuman. They didn't have perfect emotions. They had days they wanted to quit. They had moments where they felt lost, but they kept going. They kept building. They kept working. And they did it because their mission mattered more than their mood. You have to make that same decision. You have to decide that your why is bigger than your feelings. You have to decide that your vision is more important than your comfort, that your future is more valuable than your fear. Because when you operate from that place, you become unshakable. You become unstoppable. Your feelings may try to slow you down. They may tell you it's too hard, that you're not good enough, that you can't keep going. But your commitment needs to respond louder. Your discipline needs to say, thank you for your input, but I've got work to do. And then you do it. That's how progress is made. That's how consistency is built. One moment at a time, one decision at a time, choosing action over emotion, choosing purpose over feelings. Let's be real. Life won't always support your journey. You'll face resistance. You'll face setbacks. You'll be tempted to fall back into old habits. But in those moments, your commitment must be stronger than your mood. You gotta lean on your principles, not your preferences, because your preferences will have you choosing comfort. Your principles will keep you chasing greatness. So the question becomes, what's leading your life? Your mood or your mission? Your feelings or your values? Your emotions or your execution? You want real change. You want real results. Then it's time to shift. It's time to become the kind of person who shows up regardless. Who works when it's hard. Who grinds when it's quiet. Who pushes when nobody's watching. That's who wins. That's who builds legacy. That's who finishes the race. Stop waiting for the feeling. Start building the habit. Show up every day, rain or shine. Fired up or frustrated. Tired or energized. Show up, because when you do, you train your mind. You train your body. You train your soul. And that training becomes identity. That identity becomes power. And that power creates results. You don't need to feel like it. Show up committed. Show up disciplined. Show up like your future depends on it, because it does. Your destiny is waiting on the other side of your consistency. So stop following feelings. Lead with commitment. Move with purpose. And let your actions speak louder than your moods.